No doubt, you've heard, seen, or participated in arguments over who did it first. These disputes are so rife in fandom, it's as if prizes are up for whoever points out where today's creators drew inspiration. Many American titles have been labeled rip-offs of anime, for instance, even though the long view shows many anime icons took liberal inspirations themselves. Akira, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, and Mega Man, among many others, wear blatant depths to earlier characters, from East and West. It reveals how such accusations are just silly, even more so in the lineage of manga. In Japan, unauthorized fan fiction, called doujinshi, actually has a de facto avenue to be sold at major conventions. That speaks volumes about the country's view of copyright, which is generally more relaxed and potentially more honest about where ideas originate and evolve. We'll return to that in a moment, but first, let's pick apart the creative DNA of some characters you thought you knew. A company mascot and pop icon, Mega Man, or Rockman, has starred in dozens of Capcom games and battled hundreds of evil robots since his debut in 1987. Numerous spiritual successors like Mighty No. 9 have followed him, and he's even a spiritual successor himself. Indeed, the notion of a boy robot is like a nested Russian doll in J-pop culture. The next shell deeper is the most famous, Astro Boy, anime godfather Osamu Tezuka's signature creation. An android fashioned after his creator's dead son, Astro is abandoned because he can't pass for real. Adopted later by a loving scientist, he learns to feel human emotions and becomes a hero, fighting an endless horde of bots gone bad with a powerful arsenal at hand. And in his butt. Built by the fatherly Dr. Light, Rock is intended as a lab assistant, but must be repurposed into a battle bot when the mad scientist Dr. Wily goes rogue. With a forearm that converts into a cannon, he ventures ever onward to fight the countless rebellious bots serving Wily. Astro debuted in 1952. Arguably every Japanese hero after him owes at least some debt, but still, Mega Man's similarities to other older heroes are even more intriguing to examine. 8-Man, created in 1963, is a murdered police detective who gets to avenge himself after his mind's put into an android body. His rugby-style armor resembles Rock's two-tone gear far more than Astro Boy's swim trunks, and his signature gimmick is a superhuman dash, much like the dash so crucial to later Mega Man games. Speaking of those, as they go along, Rock and his pals actually come to resemble the characters of yet another anime, Neo-Human Kasern. A prince who becomes a cyborg to combat a horde of evil bots, Kasern debuted in 1973 and has the white jumpsuit and popped V-neck collar to prove it. Less Pinocchio and more Hamlet, his daddy issues are about righting the sins of the father, not seeking approval. His dad is the scientist who accidentally created the aforementioned horde when one creation, BK1, rebelled against programming and took the name Burai King Boss. Kasern's universe is rife with mega comparisons. First, the lady in the prince's life is Luna, a blonde and red, much like Rock's sis, Roll. And his dog, Friender, yes, Friender, is a lot like Rock's dog, Rush. Both robo-canines transform into a variety of vehicles, cars, planes, you get it. The links get even more pronounced with 1993's Mega Man X, an edgier spin-off where the Blue Bomber re-emerges in a farther future, which Machine Mavericks have overrun. In Dr. Wily's place is a more menacing arch-villain, Sigma, a bald, caped maverick who looks much like Kasern's bald, caped foe, Burai King Boss. These X games also have players hunt hidden capsules, which install pieces of armor on the hero. Once all upgrades are installed, he has a white suit with a V-shaped headpiece that very strongly resembles Kasern's disco-era duds. See? Did Tatsunoko object to this tribute? Well, the company seems to have appreciated it, since Mega Man and Roll appear alongside Kasern in Tatsunoko vs. Capcom, a crossover where the heroes spar. When first serialized in '82, there was no way that readers of Akira missed allusions to Tetsujin 28 Go, also known as Gigantor. At a glance, the premise of a little boy's partnership with a giant robot has little to do with teen biker gangs crossing childlike mutant psychics. The main characters have the same names and roughly the same relationships. Tetsujin 28 Go stars plucky young Shotaro Kaneda, a junior detective whose mentor, Professor Shikishima, has a young son named Tetsuo. Akira also stars as Shotaro Kaneda, but he's a punk fleeing a government agent, Colonel Shikishima, who abducted Kaneda's toady, the troubled Tetsuo Shima. Likewise, Tetsujin has the designation 28, while Akira's all-powerful title character's codename is Subject Number 28. Tetsuo summons him from subterranean storage at one point, evoking the way Detective Kaneda regularly calls up his super robot. Akira's cast list isn't filled with clever sound-alike analogs, these are the exact same names. Search no further for proof of a more chill attitude towards homage. These are two iconic manga titles, and their blatant connection only amounts to trivia, not lawsuits. That isn't really the case when Japanese creators have paid as overt tribute to Western titles, though. Generally, with trademarks in the West, two works can have the same title as long as their plots, settings, genre, etc. are markedly different. Who dare to name their tribute after the story that inspired it? Well, before he created Astro Boy, Osamu Tezuka did just that. A publicity still of the femme robot Maria from Fritz Lang's film classic Metropolis struck him, so he fashioned his own story of a future utopia's androgynous artificial life form. Tezuka asserted he hadn't actually seen the movie, just followed the muse its photo suggested. But still, he titled his story Metropolis, and its resemblance to the original was enough that objections from Lang's colleagues led to it being retitled Robotic Angel in Germany. Titles again proved to carry a lot of weight across borders when the cartoonist Monkey Punch began a series in 1967, starring the grandson of France's fictional gentleman thief, Arsène Lupin. He neglected to clear this with the estate of Lupin's creator, of course, but by the time they pursued action, the original character had become public domain in Japan. While the series could now continue as Lupin III, it had to be coyly retitled in other countries. Even if the first Lupin entered French common use in 2012, it says a whole lot that an anime icon is an unauthorized tribute. Manga's attitude towards tributes seemed to be even looser for parodies, best shown through a top-flight series that started in the 80s, Hirohiko Araki's JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. At the onset, he lightly spoofed Fists of the North Star, which itself is an homage. However, Araki quickly moved on to tickle himself with other targets, taking pages from Bram Stoker's Dracula and filling his world with characters named after Western pop and rock stars. A demonic doll goes by the alias Devo. A cabal of ancient warlords are named after the Cars, Wham, AC/DC, and Carlos Santana, and so on. Because of Araki's tributes, JoJo's has been notoriously difficult to import. The delay of official translations partly due to importers having to shimmy around these references. A full inventory of all the tributes, parodies, and homages in anime and manga would be exhausting in length. Still, let's stress once more that none of these titles have been doujinshi. They aren't fan-made creations, run out of print shops and sold for cheap at conventions. These are some of the most mainstream and highest-selling series of all time, and their overt tributes are almost never a big deal for companies or creators, until they're imported outside of Japan. We submit that this more relaxed and honest attitude about inspiration might also be envied. After all, creators are but the sum of their inspirations. Perhaps better art comes when they're freer to follow muses. Indeed, a telling aspect of the doujinshi subculture is that it's tolerated in part because established creators recognize it as a useful arena for new creators to own craft. And it's telling that every homage we've discussed here has eventually been paid homage by others. To recognize how a concept evolves through collective culture is to celebrate its place in lineage, not to point a finger at cheaters. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to follow Gamma Ray across all social medias, and we'll see you guys next time.